climbing in the Philippines here, and I've been promising you one for some time about the pageant scene in the Philippines. And it's really, really important to understanding how these sexual and gender presentations work in the Philippines and across Southeast Asia, but also other places as well. That you have some notion of what happens and how the pageant scene works. Now, when we talk about pageants, we're talking about beauty pageants, or as they're often called here, beauty contests, and those who participate are called bucaneras. There's many beauty contests for cis women, for natal women. There's loads of them, but there are almost as many for ladyboys. And they're usually called the Miss Gay competitions. Again, ladyboys self-identify as gay, because gay doesn't mean what it means in the West. In the West, gay means, for a man, it would mean a man who's attracted to someone whose characteristics are very similar to his own. So if he was a masculine, hairy guy, he would be attracted to other masculine, hairy guys. If he was a feminine guy, he'd be attracted to other feminine guys. That simply doesn't exist here. It doesn't. There's no way that's going to happen. Here, it's all about opposites attract, right? It's a very important thing that you understand that. And that's what they mean when they say gay. When they say gay here, they don't mean, some sort of a same-sex attraction thing. What they mean is specifically an unmasculine male, right? And it's often expressed in the culture as someone who has green blood, or birding dougal, as is a local term. Leaving that aside, only males, by the way, have birding dougal. Only males can be bakla. There's plenty of lesbians here. There's no shortage of lesbians here, and most lesbians here do tend to be cross-gender, to adopt the gender or to perform the gender associated with the opposite sex. They do that innately because they're masculine. So, they have male sexuality. It's not quite the same because they don't have penises, but still, that's how it works. But talking about the males, well, any male can accommodate a penis. Anyone. He may not like doing it, but he can do it. And that's, the route to bakla validation, because they can actually have sex as a woman without any difficulty. They just lift the bums up a little bit. It's not a problem. I'm sure you see what I mean. So, to get back to the pageants, the beauty pageants exist because beauty is a really, really big thing here. The Philippines is not cursed with the horrible affliction of feminism in the way that the West has been in recent decades. Feminism is a horrible, horrible thing. It is female supremacy, but at the same time it seeks to completely destroy Western culture. Totally. To destroy Western culture, because it thinks Western culture was invented by men, so we want to destroy it. That's what supremacists do. They're iconoclastic. It's like they want to invade, destroy everything that was there, build a new one. And they want to lie to you, and they want to use female privilege, and they want to tell you that, we just want equality. Well, that's a load of baloney. They don't want equality. They got that already. What they want is to totally destroy men, eradicate masculinity, have it their own way. And one of the ways they've done that is by making it illegitimate in their culture to look at pretty women. Well, that doesn't apply here, guys. I'm sorry, pretty women are all the rage here. No problem at all. Lunchtime television will have a parade of, shall we say, scantily clad young babes on TV. And some of them will be trans, and some of them will be natal, and they all look great. They are showing acres of skin. Why wouldn't they look great? Feminism is not working here. Thank goodness for that. So you have all these beauty contests. Now, the beauty contests exist at every level of society. The big ones, you can look these up, things like Super Sirena, that is Syrena, Sirena, in the Philippines. Then you've got the Miss Universe ones. You've got the big ones in Thailand, the Miss Tiffany's Universe, which is at one point was the biggest in the world. These big pageants where there's substantial prize money for the winners are big, glamorous events which are televised, and it's a really big thing. At the same time, you can go down the local barangay and you will find, on the appropriate day, you will find a couple of blankets thrown over some sticks and a beauty contest going on. And it's like, oh look, there's all these kids. And the majority of them will be of an age range between 4 and 7, say, maybe a little older. And where they're boys, that's what they are. They're boys dressed up as girls. So they're introduced to this idea very early on that they could be successful girls. Why would you want to be a girl? Because it's a successful career. Even if you're not sexually inverted and therefore absolutely besotted by men, which a lot of them are, let's not beat around that bush. As they get a little older, they realise that, wait a minute, if I look good, I could make a lot of money. One of the girls I follow on Insta the other day posted pictures of the house she just built. That's on her earnings as a beautiful person, doing what beautiful women do, right? As a model of various types, and I am quite sure providing one-on-one entertainment services. Built a house. Okay, fine. A house in Thailand doesn't cost what a house in London does. Nevertheless, she's achieved that. Got a car, got a house. She's 21. Do you see what I mean? It's like, yeah, all you have to be is beautiful, and you can, you're absolutely laughing. You're away. You've got it. That's fine. You're minted if you're beautiful. You're made, especially if you're one of the, particularly amongst HSCs, if you're one of the tall, slender ones, because they do well in the pageants because they're so beautiful and they're also tall enough to compete against AGPs. I mean, they can make a lot of money. They really can make an awful lot of money. So it's a career. You could almost say that there is an element of could we call this? We could call this financial transition desire. Transition desire that's actually provoked by the desire to be a rich bucanera, a rich beauty queen. The thing is, they will automatically, because they're part of Kabaklaan, because they're part of this culture which says boys go with girls and girls go with boys, they will start dating men. That's how they make their money, through dating men. And they get to like it. They get validation and affirmation. And they're not, you're talking about people who, even if they're not fully sexually inverted, you're talking about people who are, they're not particularly pushy people, but they love the idea of being beautiful. And if beauty can bring me glamorous men and, a nice car and maybe holidays in Europe and, a nice house, a house for my mother, that sort of thing. If beauty can bring me that, I'm in for it. And why not? Why not have a man? Why not enjoy a man's body? They've learned to enjoy it. And they do. They can do that. There's this Western idea that certain activities are closed. Some of us, like masculine men like me, we can't do that. But if you're not quite as masculine, if you're somewhere in between, then why not? Why would you not do it? I don't mean that these people are bisexual in any sort of Western sense, because that's basically nonsensical. But they're able to enter into this role, and they start this very, very young. If you talk to AGPs here, late bloomers, who claim to have had cross-dressing episodes in their youth, really youth, when they were 6, 7, 8. Now, occasionally that's true. That would very rarely be true in the West, but occasionally it's true. But when you go and look at the pictures, what you find is that they were actually competing in beauty pageants, right? So somebody put them up to it. Mum said, I think you'd do quite well in a beauty pageant. Come on, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a gown, and you can have some fun and perform, and it's harmless. It's absolutely, people are not screwed up about sex the way USCans are. It's harmless. What's the problem? The little boy dresses up as a girl, gets a lot of applause and, lots of attention and maybe wins a little bit of money, and it's all fine. It's great. It's super. And that's where the beauty pageant begins, at that level. And they do go up. They become very much bigger and very much more glamorous. That's the level where it starts, right at the real simple stuff at village level. And these village ones are very, very hand-knitted. They're very, they're very small affairs. And then you go up to the bigger ones in the slightly larger small towns, and barangays, and there they might actually have a stage, rented a hall for the event, that sort of thing. They might actually have some lights, and it's fine, and it's all, just a little bit better. The prizes are a little bit better. If you win in this level, you might be going, maybe I could look at some of the regional tournaments, of which there are loads. And ultimately up to the national ones, where you get people like Trixie Maristella, Kevin Ballett, these people who, these are very, very beautiful women. You just forget any notion you might have had that these are not gorgeous, because they are stunningly gorgeous women. And that's the beauty pageants. It's so important to life here. Beauty is just so important to life. Filipinos love beauty like life. And it's true in Thailand, it's true in everywhere. All of the non-Muslim areas, and frankly, even in the Muslim ones of Southeast Asia, beauty is just absolutely vaunted. It's like, yes, that is what we want. We want beauty in our lives. What is life without beauty? And of course, the Western feminists, with our absolute hatred of men and all things beautiful, is trying her best to absolutely destroy that. She comes here and she must be so offended. And that's great. There's nothing as satisfying as offending a feminist, because they are nasty, nasty people. And if they're offended, then we are doing something right. So the pageants become really critical to the nature of this lifestyle, which I call kabaklaan, which is the life of the bakla. Now, it has different names wherever you go. I just happen to live in Luzon, and Luzon it's called kabaklaan. In other parts of the Philippines and in other parts of the region, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, it has different names, but it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. And you'll find that within kabaklaan, you've got all these boys who just don't fit in with the boy groups. And some of them will be, teenagers who've suddenly discovered that they are, I don't really feel like a boy. I feel like, I feel kind of girly. And I like that my friends being girls, or ladyboys, And so they naturally gravitate and sort of coalesce around this lifestyle. And the lifestyle itself supports them. They will give each other beauty tips. I mean, they're always talking about beauty. Have you any beauty tips? It's interesting that although baklas actually occupy a very low status position in society, they're assumed to have extra special skills when it comes to things like beauty, to hairdressing, to makeup, to clothes design, all of these sort of things. And so natal women will respect if a bakla says, no, you don't do that. That doesn't look good on you. You trust me and you wear this instead and do your makeup a little bit like that. The woman will do it. She will do it. There's no way she's going to start saying, can't have a bakla telling me what to do. After all, I am a woman. She's going to go, really? Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Ah, thanks. I mean, I'm sure I'll look a lot better. And she probably will. She probably will. And so there's this whole thing about beauty contests and beauty itself become of critical importance in a way that they simply, in the West is dying. You have to understand the West is actually dying. It's in terminal decline. And unless we can destroy feminism, and I do mean destroy feminism, we would have to absolutely eradicate it. And I'll do another video about that. We'd have to eradicate it. Then the West is going to collapse. The root of all the bad things that are happening just now, things like, the destruction of gender, the destruction of the family, the destruction of normal social roles, the destruction of respect, all of these things, these all come back to feminism, right? Because feminism want to destroy them because they thought these were things that were invented by men. Everything invented by a man has to be destroyed, according to feminism. It's that simple. If it was invented by a man, it has to be got rid of. But what have they got left? What have you got left when feminism takes over? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. So beauty is actually the key to the survival of our society. If we can get rid of feminism and get women back to being beautiful and get back to things like, why can't we look at undressed girls in Playboy? Why can't we look at undressed girls on page 3 of The Sun? Why can't we do that? Well, the only reason is because feminists are such horrible Puritans. If we can get back to that sort of thing, then we might have a chance of survival. Because they would know that they had lost. And that is something we are going to have to do, is to make feminists realize that they can't win this, that they will not win this. And whatever happens, they're not to be allowed to witness. Thank you, that's enough for that one. Thank you.